Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, 11:38 on the East Coast, 8:38 on the West Coast. I do want to get to some breaking news that we are following just coming into the newsroom here. Take a look. This is actually video from the aftermath of the Russia-Ukraine war during one of the strikes there. Now, Russia and Ukraine saying just moments ago that they have each swapped hundreds of prisoners in the largest exchange since the Russian full-scale invasion started over 3 years ago. Russia's Ministry of Defense said that 246 Russian service members were returned from territory controlled by Kyiv, and that, quote, as a gesture of goodwill, 31 wounded Ukrainian prisoners of war were transferred in exchange for 15 wounded Russian soldiers in need of urgent medical care. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that 277 Ukrainian, quote, warriors have returned home from Russian captivity. Again, that information here just coming in, but also learning that Russian President Vladimir Putin announcing a temporary Easter ceasefire in Ukraine, citing humanitarian reasons, that is according to the Kremlin. The announcement came on the same day as Russia's defense ministry saying that its forces push Ukrainian troops from one of their last remaining footholds in the Kursk region, where the Ukrainians staged a surprise incursion last year. According to the Kremlin, the ceasefire will last from 6 p.m. Moscow time on Saturday until midnight following Easter Sunday. Quote, we assume that the Ukrainian side will follow our example. At the same time, our troops must be ready to repel possible violations of the truce and provocations from the enemy, any of its aggressive actions. That is according to Putin, saying at a meeting with his chief of the general staff there, and that is from a video that was shared and, of course, translated by the Kremlin's press service. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the ceasefire, quote, another attempt by Putin to play with human lives. He wrote on X that, quote, air raid alerts are spreading across Ukraine, and drones in our skies reveal Putin's true attitude toward Easter and toward human life. Putin's announcement came after President Donald Trump Friday said negotiations between Ukraine and Russia are, quote, coming to a head, and insisted that neither side is, quote, playing, end quote, him in his push to end the grinding 3-year war. President Trump spoke shortly after Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned that the U.S. may move on from trying to secure a Russia-Ukraine peace deal if there is no progress in the coming days after months of efforts have failed to bring an end to the fighting. In January 2023, Putin had orders his forces in Ukraine to observe a unilateral 36-hour ceasefire for Orthodox Christmas. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had stopped short of stating his forces would reject the request, but dismissed the Russian move as playing for time to regroup its invasion forces and prepare additional attacks. Russia's defense ministry saying today that its forces took control of a village there in the Kursk region on the border with Ukraine. The Associated Press unable to immediately verify the claim, and there was no immediate response from officials in Ukraine. So again, a lot of information here just coming out on that Russia-Ukraine war that is now more than 3 years in. We'll keep you updated here as we do get additional information. It is now 11:42 on the East Coast, 8:42 on the West Coast, and we're going to head to a quick break, but a lot more news to get to here on Live Now from Fox in just a few.